I understand that this will be a short-lived video because the game kicks off not too long from now, but I wanted to get it out anyway because these are some of the notes that I will be watching for in my review of the game that will drop tomorrow. What to watch as the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Detroit Lions. The first thing that needs to be put out there is, look, I'm not sure because the Lions coach said that their starters wouldn't play a whole lot. Um, this is still a relatively young preseason format, so everyone is going to treat it a little bit differently. What we ended up seeing towards the late stages of the 4-game preseason schedule was that everyone really kind of took things at the same pace, except for largely veteran teams that were likely to go deep in the playoffs. They usually let their starters basically have off the preseason. But as this is a young preseason format, everyone's going to be still trying to experiment and tinker with it in order to figure out exactly what it is that they want with their roster, what gives them the best results, and how do you prime your team in the preseason in order to make a run in the postseason. Um, so, yeah, we're going to get things like this for probably a few more years where not everyone is on the same page. I hope that is wrong because that next note there, one thing I was really looking forward to with this game was Aiden Hutchinson versus the Kansas City Chiefs offensive tackles, assuming that nothing went too terribly wrong, because Aiden Hutchinson is a guy that is, when we've looked at the numbers of that draft class, the draft class that had both Aiden Hutchinson and George Karlaftis, we not only saw that George Karlaftis is basically the second or third most productive defensive end to come out of that entire draft, though other players started to catch up a little bit after their rookie seasons. But Aiden Hutchinson is George Karlaftis plus 15%, plus 20%, whatever you want to throw on there, you can throw it on there. But the fact that Aiden Hutchinson went way higher in the draft than did George Karlaftis makes that statement okay, right? Uh, he did, George Karlaftis is not expected to be Aiden Hutchinson because he was a late first round pick as opposed to top 5 type, top 3 type guy. But the Chiefs' offensive tackles versus that guy would have been something of a measuring stick for this season. Hopefully, we do see a few reps out of Aiden Hutchinson in order to sort of gauge what it is that the offensive line is doing here in Kansas City and whether they have. So, what kind of progress they have made, I think, is the probably best way to say it. The second note that I have on the offense for the Kansas City Chiefs is this: can Sky Moore make a statement? Everyone in this sort of sphere, this sort of Chiefs commentary sphere, is in two camps. Number one, the number one camp is Sky Moore is as good as gone, right? Kind of writing him off. The number two camp is looking at the depth chart for the Kansas City Chiefs, looking at who was the first off the bench in that first preseason game and realizing Sky Moore is kind of like that weird uncle, the guy you just don't talk about. He's going to be around. He's not going to do a whole lot. And when Thanksgiving happens, he will probably make a scene, but he's going to be on the roster. I'm jumping back and forth between the weird uncle and Sky Moore, but it seems that Sky Moore is going to be around for better or worse. Now, I'm not 100% sold on it. I think that there is some chance that Sky Moore does not hang on, is not a rotation wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs this season. I just don't know what he brings to the table. I don't know what he has to offer. And if he's going to make a statement in this game, Andy Reid has said that I believe in this game the Kansas City Chiefs starters are expected to play a half of the game. Now, we saw several times last preseason and already once this preseason that Andy Reid says something in the pregame and ends up not coming through with that as the number of reps for the starters. I believe he said that the starters were going to work much of the opening quarter last week, but they came in, had one injury, and did not come back onto the field really. So we are expecting about a half out of the Kansas City Chiefs offense, but I don't know if we're going to get it. I don't know how much the Chiefs have to really gain from this game, how much they have to gain from the preseason. They do need to get on the same page with their wide receivers. The offense, the starting offense last week, I won't say it looked out of sorts, but it did look early season. And we can see them turn things around. We can see them flip that switch, but we might not, and it's not guaranteed. The next note that I have for the offense comes along those same lines: Nico Remigio and Justin Ross. Now, you knew this was coming, guys. You knew this was coming from me. You knew I was going to talk about these two. Both of them made statements in preseason week one. Both of them have made statements in the training camp scenario in St. Joseph, Missouri. Training camp is over. Preseason week 2 is here. Can these players keep making claims for being on the field this season? And look, I got pummeled in the comments a little bit about, oh, well, Nico Remigio and Justin Ross were doing it against what? Fourth stringers, third stringers? Well, here's the thing. Number one, if you are the Chiefs' sixth wide receiver, if you are the Chiefs' fifth wide receiver, you're going to be seeing some of those fourth corners in the regular season. So, yeah, it does mean something. But number two, can you tell me conclusively, if you were in that camp, that, oh, yeah, they were making those statements against number 4 cornerbacks, can you tell me conclusively that you truly believe that had Sky Moore been on the field, he would have been making those plays? First off, he's not making the catch that Justin Ross made, period, point blank, period. He's not that type of receiver. The type of receiver that Nico Remigio is, the plays that we saw Nico Remigio make, are the plays that we expected from Sky Moore upon his being drafted to the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're not the plays that we have gotten. So, are we going to see Nico Remigio and Justin Ross continue to make claims for themselves? On the defensive side of the ball, I have been a long believer in the fact that Jalen Watson is going to be the number 2 cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Is he going to be in shape? I think that is the main tell. I think we might end up seeing Jalen Watson get a few more reps than absolutely necessary under the non-suggestion that you do not welcome contact. Get out there, get your reps in, get some work on your legs, and if a play is going south, do not take risks with your body. We absolutely need Jalen Watson for this upcoming season. Now, the last thing that I will be looking at in this game is defensive line depth. The very bottom of the roster kind of guys, the Truman Jones of the world, the Alex Gubners, Matt Dickersons of the world. Neil Farrell really kind of looked good last week with the reps that he had. Is he able to continue to look better than we saw him last season? So those are the big things that I will be watching in this game. How much of it are we going to be able to gauge anything off of, because the Lions seem set in not playing their starters? I'm not sure, but that's what it is. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on the channel, so consider hitting the subscribe button to stick around for more. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.